On this day, 30 years ago, Kuwait marked the first extinguishment of oil well fires set by the Iraqi forces after their brutal invasion. Kuwaiti firefighters worked tirelessly that day as they managed to contain 41 oil well blazes during a record period of 40 days. Engineer Sara Akbar joining us now to recall the experience on its 30th anniversary. Good evening, good evening, Sarah. Can you tell us about the oil sector resistance and the emergency of the Kuwaiti employees?
Firstly, I'd like to express my thanks to you for inviting me to talk. And of course, you know, the environmental catastrophe that we had after the fires was a huge one, and we had to put a lot of effort, you know, together as Kuwaitis, as international community to combat those fires. And it was a very big operation, but a truly successful operation because Kuwait managed to put off more than 730 wells on fire to, you know, put them off in a record time in 7 months. So it was a huge experience for Kuwait, but like I said, it was the largest environmental disaster we've ever had.
Engineer Sara, tell us about your resistance outside the oil sector.
Yeah. So during the invasion, I worked in many fronts actually because I had those type of networks. So one of, you know, but it's mainly related to Ahmadi and to the oil sector. So initially, I participated in preparing a daily report for all the activities that took place in on all parts of the company, Kuwait Oil Company, and that report was, I think, a very crucial document that was sent every day, I think, to the government outside of Kuwait. And then I actually helped in hiding some of the expatriates that we had in Ahmadi. We took them out from Ahmadi and we kept them in some safe houses. And of course, I managed to take a lot of the documents, the microfilm that was in KOC out, and I hid them in my house until the liberation, and then I took them back to the company. I worked for almost the 7 months in the company in various roles, but mainly to do with information gathering, preparing the plans for recovery and, you know, management of the situation as it arises. You know, every day we had a new thing that came up with the Iraqis all around us. So it was, you know, a very tough time. But I think, you know, the team that managed the oil sector at that time did a fantastic job, really, because we had to work without, you know, the oil and gas that we produced. There was no real life in Kuwait. You know, it was a long summer, and we had to, you know, get the electricity working. For that, we needed fuel. For the cars, we needed fuel. And of course, in Kuwait, without water that is generated through the gas and the oil, there is no life in Kuwait. So we worked for 7 months to secure those basic requirements for the population so that, you know, with this huge invasion and everything that happened with it, at least, you know, they had some basic requirements of life that could keep the Kuwaitis inside Kuwait at least to some sort of livable conditions.
In your opinion, can you tell us how vital was the role of women during the invasion?
You know, the invasion was a great testimony to the abilities and capabilities and the courage of women. So during the invasion, you could see women, you know, securing first their family requirements. So everywhere you went, you saw Kuwaiti women waiting in lines, going to the co-ops, trying to find food in order to secure the food requirements of the family. And of course, we had the first movement of resistance in Kuwait and the demonstrations and so on, which mainly were women, Kuwaiti women, led Kuwaiti women. The first woman who fell as a martyr in these demonstrations, Saad, everybody knows about her. And so they had that type of role, but at the same time they participated with their brothers in the resistance. They used to distribute money, hide people, take big responsibilities, and moving information about, and working in the hospitals, working in the civil areas as well, other parts of the government, in order to, like I said, make sure that Kuwait was livable and the people who stayed in Kuwait had an easier life. It was really tough life, but at least, they could help and make it easier. And I think, the role of women was very obvious. We had many women who went as POWs. We had women who were, killed, and they were the martyrs during the invasion itself. And women helped in moving weapons to some parts of the resistance, and so they played every type of role you can imagine, and they did it in a very skillful way and with huge courage. I can tell you, Kuwaiti women proved the solid uh, courage that they had inside them that just came out during invasion, and it was unbelievable, unbelievable.
Thank you, Engineer Sara, for sharing with us this beautiful experience.